Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a tutorial for this little cauldron using the Scrap Diva Designs 3D gift purse, which looks like this, and it was a die that I believe she came out with in December. Anyways, so if you guys have not picked that up yet, you can pick it up at scrapdivadesigns.com, and I'll have it linked down below. You can always use my discount code Alondra10. I do get a small commission from you guys using my discount code, so I do appreciate anybody who uses my code. Anyway, so let's get started because I think it's going to be a long tutorial. So what I have for this tutorial, and I'll leave this kind of up here. Ooh, that's really hot. For reference, maybe. Actually, that's going to be kind of in the way. But anyway, so what I have is I have my two circles cut out, and if you have a circle die that will cut out like a nesting die, you can use that. Or if you have a circle die, and this was just from some set that I have in my stash, but any circle die will do. So I cut those two out, and I cut out two more out of foam, and this is 5mm foam to give it some you know, some stability and some thickness. Anyway, so I have my base, which is, I have two of these. So I have two of the bigger one, and then I cut out two more since it's not I'm just using I think this is 65-pound cardstock. So I have my pattern paper and I have 65-pound cardstock. So I'm going to glue both of these together to give it some, so to make it sturdier, so that, you know, once everything is together, you have some, you know, it's nice and sturdy. Anyways, so I have four of these basically, and you can cut them out of the same pattern paper, I mean, if you want to, and they do kind of line up if you flip it around. So so yeah, so you can use either pattern paper for the inside and the outside. I chose to do mine in black on the inside. But anyway, so I have those four, and then I have my layering piece, which will go on the inside part like that, like so. And let's see, can I get that to focus? All right, so I did go ahead and start stitching it. I stitched it all the way around, and then I stitched around right here, but I stopped because we are going to add this part to it. So anyways, and then the back one, actually this will be my back, this will be my front. For this one I only stitched around the bottom and the sides, which all you're going to see are the sides, because we're going to put wood in front, and then we're going to cover the top there. We're going to cut this part off. I mean, you can leave it on if you want to. I cut mine off, but I don't think it's necessary. Anyways, I do have then the two sides. So I have the two sides and the bottom part, and this all comes in the die. I have the matting pieces for the two sides, and I went ahead and stitched around three corners, or three of the sides. On this first one I stitched around the whole thing, but it is going to get covered by this this part right here, so it's not necessary. I also cut out two more to add to the inside so that it is sturdier once again, and I'll show you guys. So I have my matting piece on the inside as well, and then I cut one for the bottom. So once we're done, this one will go on the bottom piece right there. So anyways, so that will essentially go on the inside of this part right here. So let's put it together real quick. Oh, I also have a few of my strips already cut out and stitched. I didn't stitch this one, but I have these 3 cut out and stitched. So we're gonna need 2 longer ones for this part, and I didn't measure. I just sewed them, cut them out, and whenever it was time to glue it down, I cut it thin. So that's why I'm not giving you a measurement for that. That's how I did it. I just put it on there and cut around it, and it also give you that continued kind of curved cut there. Then on the side, we're gonna need 2 little pieces for the side right here, and again, I didn't measure them. I just glued them on and cut them. And then we do need some green, or whatever color you want, but I did mine in green, so I cut out a few more strips, and that's going to be for this part. And for that part, I didn't stitch it, but you can if you want to. Anyways, so let's get started. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. Alright, so we're going to start by making our little circle things. All I'm going to do is grab my glue and attach the ring around this foam, and then we'll pop that out once we have our shape. You can save the circle to use on a different project. So there we go, just pushing it to make sure it's attached. Anyways, then we're gonna work with these 2 pieces. These are our sides, our matting sides. These are the ones that are gonna go on this piece that forms the side, right? So we're gonna attach these 2 to these real quick. So the way we're gonna do that, the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get our green strips of paper, and I used the Scrap Divas, give me a second. Okay, I used this purse strap bundle from Scrap Diva, and that has all these different layering pieces. I used this, the bigger strap to cut these out with it. So for these, we're just going to figure out about how big we want them, and all I did was eyeball it, and I figured we're gonna slide that in there. I figured I wanted them to be about that big so that I have room to glue it down and hide that. So I'm just gonna see where that needs to be. I'm going to just cut it right there. I'm not measuring anything, just cutting that. And then we need another piece that's the exact same size, so I'm just going to lay that over the last one, and I'm gonna cut right there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to glue these together, that way it's a little bit sturdier. So I'll get some nice coverage on on my glue, and I will glue those 2 together, trying to line them up as best as possible. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. I'm going to use this as a reference. I'll just put that right on top of there, and I will cut right around there. And just as long as they're roughly about the same, you'll be good, because we're going to be hiding the edges, the top and the bottom of it. So there we go. Then we're gonna glue one on top of the other. There we go. So there's that. Now we are going to grab our little handles, and we're going to stick our paper in between them. That way we can have them enclosed. So what I'm going to do now is just hot glue the back. So hot glue that part and try to center it right in the middle as best as you can, and don't go all the way to the top. If you need to make your handle shorter, you can always just cut off some of the excess. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna cut off another tiny piece. So I'm just eyeballing this. Once I have it where I kind of want it, I'm gonna hot glue that part down, and let me push that down so we don't have that bump there. And then that gets covered up by our pink layering piece. So for this part, I'm gonna start with the side, and I'm gonna put that down and right on the edge right there. And since we do have this part that goes up higher, you're gonna need a little bit of extra paper. So when you just grab this and you line it up and cut it right here on the end, and then you place something, it makes your paper lift up, which will make this end not line up. So that's why I didn't cut it until after, because then it'll be short if you do it that other way. You'll just have a little bit of gap on the end over here. So I'm gonna now add glue to the rest. Make sure I'm adding quite a bit of glue over that little hump, so that I can make sure that it adheres quite well to it. And we'll try to get that as flat as possible, but you're still gonna have a little bit of a flap there. All right, now we just flip that around, and I'm just gonna cut that right there. Cut the excess off, and there we go. That's our little side already done. We'll do the same thing to the other side. So we'll put that paper right in between. We're going to, there's glue everywhere, sorry. I'm going to try to glue that down on the middle, but giving myself a little bit of a gap from the top. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want it to show too much on the top. I don't want the green showing from the top too much. So anyways, I'm gonna try to put these together and eyeball roughly about where I need to cut it, where the other one is. I think that's about a good match right there. So I'm going to, for example, I wouldn't draw it, but just so you guys can see, I've lined these two up, and that's roughly about where I need to cut so that they will line up. See, right there. Now, you can play with these a little bit more. I think I originally used my bone folder to give them a little bit of a curve, and I didn't think to do that with this one, but it's okay. All right, I'm hoping I'm in frame for all of this. All right, well, there we go. So we have our two sides. Now what I'm going to do is take this, I have glue all over, stuck on my mat too. Now I'm gonna add glue to the end, and I will position it where I need it to go. So I'll put that on the edge there, try to line it up on the top, and then I will wait for it to dry a little bit, and I will add glue all throughout that area. And I'm just gonna put that down because it's hot. I'll use this guy to push it down, push all the excess out. And now we flip it around and cut that off, and our side is done. So that's how I made the sides. Now we will move on to, all right, so next we will get our two sides, which look like this, and we will attach or flip them over and attach our inside part to it. So there are 3 scoring lines, so we're just going to add these pieces in there, and we're just going to try to center them as best as we can. There we go. Then the next one. There we go. So we have those 2 pieces, and then let me show you guys real quick. So we can use this or a bone folder. So what I did was I put my ruler right where that score line is, and I used that to help me. I think I used my nail to just lift these up. To pick these up, and like maybe I don't remember what I used. I think my fingers would work better if I take this thing off. Yeah, just use my ruler to help me get a nice straight line right there where the score is. And I'm going to do that to all 3 sides. This one right here, go right there, and I just use my nail, but you can use like I said, your scoring tool or anything else that's flat to get right in there, and just give it a good crease right up against your ruler. All right, I already have both sides done. All right, so now, okay, I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm just going to curve these a little bit. Just give them a little bit of a curve. And this guy as well. See that? And I think it might be easier if we try to line these up right now before we attach them. And so I see where my lines are, so I put it right in between my lines, and I'm just going to glue that down right now. And just trying to add some glue where my stitching is, so that I can hold that down. Now make sure we that the bottom part is facing down and we don't glue it upside down. So our handle part needs to be up on top where there's no we don't have this little flap, if that makes sense. So we'll center that as best as we can. Push that down. And we'll do the other one as well. Remember, our flap is down here, so that means this part needs to go to the top. Because the one thing we don't want is to add our handle backwards and have it on the bottom. Unless that is what you want, but that's not what we want in this case. Okay. So just being generous with the glue because we don't want it to come apart. That looks good right there. Needs to go a little higher. Okay. All right. So we have our two sides done now, and they have a little bit of curve to them. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to get my two black bases. So these are going to be the parts that go on the inside, and I'm going to get the bottom part as well, and we're going to put this together. So there's also some score lines right here on both sides of this piece right here. Hope you guys can see that. So we're just going to fold that in. All right, so we're gonna add our pieces that go to the sides, and we're going to attach those. We're gonna line up where this line meets this part. So like basically like that, but all right, so we're going to add our glue, and wet glue works best for this because it gives you wiggle room, so that you have time to set it where you need it to go. So I'm going to line that up, and if you need to, you can turn it around, flip it around this way too, and just line that up that way, and that might be easier. I'm going to use the lines on my table to make sure it's straight. There we go. Just to make sure I glued it down straight. Today's Friday. Anyways, I'll do the second one. Is that right? No, that's not right. Nope. All right, we're adding our glue to the to the outside part of this flap, and we're gonna again use our table to line up the lines to make sure that we're gluing it down straight. Pull it back a little bit. You don't want it right on top of the line. You want it just a hair off of it. You can fold that to see. So I'm having a hard time seeing on this white paper. All right. Does that line up? Yep. Okay. So we have that part done, and then we can add these sections. So this is the front part, this is the back part. So I'm going to glue it with the front part, the pretty part out where the stitching is, on the inside. Okay, so the ugly part or the back part is going to be facing out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue so that we don't see it once our bag is assembled. I want this flap behind that the black paper, so we don't see it, so that it can be a nice and clean bag. So remember, we're gonna cover these little hinges with this piece right here. Let's go ahead and add that, just so, since I already have it. Okay, let's line that up, and there we go. Now we get to line this part up. So we'll add glue to this flap. And remember, the nice part goes on the inside. Alright, for some reason my phone stopped recording. But anyways, so we're just going to add the other side. So we add our glue and make sure that we have the nice part facing in, and we just put that just a hair above that line and push down. I have glue all over my hands. So, all right, now we have something like this. Let me see if I can show you guys. All right, so we have basically just our four corners. Now all that's left to do is to get our hot glue gun, or you can use glue if you want, but the hot glue gun is a lot quicker. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my little flaps, the hot glue gun, to glue those down on the, it would be on the outside of this, so that the inside is nice and clean and you don't see it, because that part's going to get covered anyways. All this right here is going to get covered on the outside part. So we'll start with one corner, and remember, we already have this kind of bent. You can bend it some more if you need to, but we'll start down in one corner and then we'll go all the way up. All right, so I'm going to put my hand behind it so that I can push with my other finger against the little flap that's getting glued down. So I'm just adding a little bitty drop of glue and using my finger back here, right here in the corner. I'm just holding it to give it something sturdy to push against. So I'm going to do that all the way across, all the way on all four sides. So on these two front sides and then on the back two sides as well, until we get our gift bag done, glued down. And I'm just going to do one at a time. If you want to, if you're feeling bold, you can do 2 or 3 if you want to speed up the process, but I'm gonna do one at a time. All right, I'll finish this side off and then I'll do the rest off camera. And when you're getting to the top, right here, sorry, when you're getting to the top, you want to make sure that you keep that pressure until it dries, so that you're so that you don't have a gap in between, so it doesn't pull apart a little bit. So especially on this last one, if you let it go too early, it will try to bounce back, and so you'll be left with a little bitty gap right here, and we don't want that. I want it to be nice and lined up. Anyways, all right, well, let me go and I'll do this side, and then I'll flip it around, and I will do the back side as well, and I'll come back and I'll show you guys. All right, so this is what we have once everything is glued down, and there's a few glue strings here and there, but anyways, so that's our little box so far. Do you see how nice and like we don't see any of the inside, like we don't see any of the hinges or how we glued it down or anything. It's nice and clean. And then this will get what do you call it, covered. So let's go ahead and work on the cover. So we need, this is going to be our back part, and this is going to be our front part. So we just need our pink strips of paper that we're going to glue down, and I like this one better. I think I did a better job. All right, so then we're going, all right, sorry my phone cut off, but all right, so we glued that part down, and we're just going to come back, and following this curve, we're just going to cut that excess off. And same thing with the other side, just following that curve, we're going to cut that excess off just like that. Now this is what we have, and so we have our back and our front part. All right, so now I suppose if you want to, oh, you know what? I got ahead of myself, but it'll be all right. I think it'll be all right. We can, I guess we could cut this part off. You can either leave this part on or we can cut it off. But since I got ahead of myself, I'm gonna cut it off, and I'll explain to you why. I cut out my little the little pieces that are going to be the silver for the like handle of the cauldron, and then I have I cut out the top part out of 5mm foam, which is going to be my handle. So a quick reference, so that it's like that. This part I had glued behind the pink strip, and like I said, I got ahead of myself, so we can cut this off, and we can just glue it down behind. That makes sense. So it's okay, it's not a big deal. If we want to let's glue on my table. Okay, yeah, let me think. So we're going to glue this down to this part as well, and then we're gonna have this part that we can sew on there. So yeah, let me just go ahead and cut it off. Let's just do that. So just follow your strip and cut that off, and then cut this off. And you can do the same thing for both sides. I chose to only do it on the front. And so we have this part right here, and then we have these two sections. Here's my others. There it is. So we're gonna line those up, and we're just gonna glue them down. And then after we glue them down, if we want to, we can sew the handles like I did here. See how that's sewn, and then I don't know where my piece that goes on top is. Oh well. I mean, if we wanted to, we could also add, actually, that might look cute, to add a little bit of the stars back on top as well, instead of the pink. I don't know, what do y'all think? I think it would be cute to keep it the same. Let's do that, because I don't know where my pink piece went. Alright, so we have this part that needs to be glued down. Let me get my glue so that, and I marked this one right and this one left just so that I would know. And get glue so we can wiggle it around. No, alright, okay. Jeez. And I think it goes roughly about right there. And then this piece right here, cut a little bit more of this part off. I think that part goes roughly right there. Okay, and then this part. So once I decide where I want this piece, I will cut that down, and I think that'll be roughly about right there. Okay, so now this piece will fit right there, and we can glue this part down. Oh, you know what? If we wanted to, so if you wanted to, you could just glue the 3 outside corners and leave this as a pocket, or I mean, I guess you could do that in the back. There's always, when you're redoing something, there's always other ideas, or once you're done with a project, you always have other ideas of things you can do. But it would be cute to have it as a pocket to stick your information. This is for a swap, so you know, you could get write down your information, the swap and everything, and just stick it in there. At this time also, if you wanted to make this into like a shaker and add tulle, you could do that. I mean, you could do all sorts of things. But anyways, I think I'm just gonna leave it as is and not make it into a shaker, because I didn't make the other one into a shaker. But it's a good idea. I wish I had thought about that with the other one. I just didn't know. I was thinking I was going to cover it, but I didn't cover it as much, so it would have worked. Okay. Alright, so there's that part, and then where's my, so we'll get this piece, we'll try to line it up, we'll and I can cut, you can cut it afterwards too, because that's what I did with the other one. But I'm gonna line that up, turn it around, cut it. I'll give it a little extra, you see that, just in case it doesn't line up afterwards. just give it just a little bit less than that. And I'm gonna not sew it quite yet. I mean not glue it down, because I want to sew it first. So I'll sew it and then I'll attach it to that part. So I'll be right back after I sew this. Alright, so I have my handle stitched. I have this guy stitched as well. Now all that is left is to add glue to this and stick it on there. I was going to use wet glue, but I'm just going to use hot glue instead. And let me see if I can line that up there as best as I can. And it's off just a little bit, but my glue is already dry. It'll be okay. Now I'm gonna go behind here and cut that excess off. And that was really close over here. Now I just, oh, you know what? Alright, I grabbed some black and white, what is this called? Baker's twine. And I'm just going to wrap that around. So I'm going to attach it back here with some hot glue. See if I can see that. There we go. And then I'm just going to start to wrap it. And I'm just randomly doing, okay, should do one more right there. Yeah. Alright, so now I'm just gonna cut that off. Cut that right there. And add some glue to hold that in place. And we're going to add more glue, and that will keep everything secured. So now we line that up, and I'm hoping, yeah, it's nice and lined up right there. All right, there's our front part. So now this is ready to be glued down right there. So let's do that. I just try to be nice and generous with the glue. Get as close to those edges as possible. And we'll add this guy here. I'm going to turn that around, and I'm going to use my table to push to try to get that to adhere. And then I'm going to push down too hard because of my foam. Trying to get all the edges as best as I can with my fingertips. Then, so if we're done with this one, we can also attach this part to it. Oops. Now if you wanted to do the same thing to the back side and add your what is this, like the silver pieces, you would just cut those out and attach those, and then attach your center part as well. But I don't think it's necessary, it's the back. So then we just attach this part to this. Now if you want to add any like sequins, French knots, or anything, you would do that to this part before you glue it down. That way everything will be hidden. I'm just trying to get some good coverage with this glue. And then we line that up, turn it around, and give it a good squeeze. Make sure you try to get in the creases. And there we go. So that is the back, the side, and the front. And now all that's left is to decorate, and so I will share with you real quick a few things I did. I cut out some slime. I used just a white circle, orange rind sequin and a black sequin, and I did a French knot in the middle, and it kind of looked like an eyeball to me, so that's why I added that. I added a little spider from Scrap Diva's little shaker, the new shaker mix that she has. Not shaker mix, but the die to make your own shaker mix. There's a few spiders, so I just used one of these spiders from that new die. Now these little bubbles, I'll share with you what I used to make those with. I used this die right here to create these the half bubbles and the bubbles, the full circle bubbles. And I thought that was a perfect size. All I did was ink them and use a white gel pen to draw on some highlights. But yeah, this is the lemon slices die. And I also created a spoon in my previous tutorial. Where are those? Here's one. I created these spoons right here using the same die, because I figured a witch needs a spoon to mix it up, right? So I'm gonna add that in there, and yeah, so that's what I did for that. The wood I cut out with my Cricut, and the fire as well. You can either hand cut some logs, and then what I did was I ran it on a wooden embossing folder that I have. I used that to run it through to give it kind of that wooden pattern to it. I just used my white gel pen to draw the little swirls. I just added little lime green rhinestones for the bubbles. Then the back, I used this is a little stamp of a potion bottle, so I just added that to the book. I used a stamp to emboss. It says no tricks, just treats. I have two of Scrap Diva flowers. I think this is called the frizzy or frilly flower. I'll have it linked below in case you guys want to pick it up. I stamped on this one. I think it says like trick and the definition or something, or trick or treat and what the definition is. Anyways, this was a die from my stash. It's just a book. This spider web that I have here, that is from her new bow set. It's like a spider web bow set, and so I just cut out the spider web part and cut that in half, and I put one half here and the other one up here. The Hocus Pocus is from her new 3D witch hat die, and it's such a pretty font. I love that. And then this little broom is just in my stash. And oh, I used another one of her spiders, and I just added a little black gemmy there. And that is it. Oh, and I added some slime here. Yeah, so that's what I did. That's how I decorated it. But anyways, you guys can decorate it however you guys want. And here's what we created today. And I like that it's nice and clean on the inside. You don't see any of the mechanism. Sorry. That's the back. So it is open for to be decorated however you want. Anyway, so that's the tutorial for today. Sorry about it being so long, but that's how these things go. Alright, I will catch you guys on the next one. Remember, the links will be linked down below, and if you want to, you can use my discount code Alondra10 to order any of the dies if they're available. Some might be on pre-order, so I think you can pre-order them right now. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.